Welcome to another episode of the Roughly Related to Reselling podcast. My name is Perry Phillips. I go by Podhead Picker on Instagram. If you're a fan of the show, go ahead and subscribe, tell a friend, maybe fucking fit it in during sex. I don't know. Another week of reselling. I hit some sales today. Went to an estate sale this morning. I don't know about you. I'm sure you probably plan and prepare when you go out to a yard sale. But, I set up. I start looking like maybe Monday. Because sometimes people post them earlier in the week and then they don't post them again. And like on Facebook especially, this happens. And then if they don't post them again, it just gets buried. Even if you search for it, it might come up. But I have a hard time. Sometimes I'll see something, I'll try to find it again, and it's just gone. So I start making my list like Monday, and then, plan for the week. So I had planned for this sale. There was not much else. It's weird. It was like, there was a ton of sales. Then there was a heat wave. So it was like, all right, I get it. It's hot. The regular person doesn't want to go shopping or set up for a yard sale. So I get that. But this weekend was really nice. And there was like maybe 2 sales I drove around my town. Like I did my loop. I probably could have gotten more in depth, but at that point it's just like, you're kind of wasting your time. I know where they put some of the main places that put the sale signs. So I'd gone through, that was after I had done all my other shit, but there was nothing like in my town. It was weird. Very, very dry couple of weeks in my town. I've gone to the next few towns over and stuff and done well. So I went and I was driving to this sale and I just happened to jump on Facebook just to double check one more time before we got out of my neighborhood. And there was a sale on the way to the sale that I was going to that was on my list, but they had posted a picture like that they were all set up. So I was like, all right, fuck it. So I went and drove over there and pulled up, and all their stuff was out, but there was nobody there. And so there was, I was about a half hour early to that one. And there was a Dunkin' Donuts cup, so I knew the person was coming back. So I just kind of hung around. I don't like to start digging through people's shit if they're not there. So I just waited and she came around the corner and I was like, hey, are you open? Am I okay? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. But I had seen a Carhartt jacket from her picture that she had just posted. So I went straight for that jacket. She's like, oh, I want $20 for that. And then she had a pair of Carhartt overalls that she said went with it, which didn't. And so I was like, oh, would you do 20 for the pair? She said 25. I was like, all right, perfect. And then she had a Facebook portal, which I don't know anything about. But I was like, I was asking about. She's like, I'll do 35 for that. So she threw in a video game and a t-shirt. So I got everything for 35. And but the jacket and the overalls alone are going to be a couple hundred, probably maybe around 100 each, give or take. And yeah, so she was cool. And then she found out that I sold on eBay. Well, because she I had a yard sale yesterday. And so I was telling her, oh, I just had a sale yesterday, this, that, and the other. I said I sell on eBay, so I had a lot of stuff to get her. She's like, oh, so you're going to sell these jackets? And I told her they might get traded, you know what I mean? Sometimes my clothing gets traded, which it's true, you know what I mean? So I told her that. So I said, I don't know if I'm going to sell these or not, so we'll see. And yeah, so then I went from that sale and I went to another sale. It was an estate sale. And I got there. I had to bring my daughter in because, it's inside a house. And the lady went in. She's like, oh, so I was there first. There was nobody there. She didn't really advertise it well. This was one of those sales that she had put it on Monday. And so she didn't put it again. But she said she had toys brand new in the package and stuffed animals and stuff. So I went and there was a Shrek that I could, a Shrek doll that I could see in the picture that I thought was going to be a different Shrek doll than it was. So it was still brand new, with tags and stuff from 2007. Still be worth a couple bucks, especially for the price I paid. So it was I don't even know, hoarder situation, I guess, but they had a ton of boxes of just stuff. I feel like the family probably picked some stuff out, but I got some old stock stuff. I got a vintage Norelco razor, Norelco thingy. I don't remember, from the 90s. a bunch of like different toys and vintage clothes, like a bunch of shit. And when I went up to pay, she was like, I don't know, like $20 for the bag and then 10 for this stuff, so 30. And so I ended up giving her 40 because she was definitely way too low. But I don't know, maybe I should have just paid 30, who knows. But she was very nice. She let me shop early. And yeah, so she had a lot of cool shit. It was fun to dig through there. It's hard to dig because I keep my kid in the carrier because she's like, I want to bring my older daughter. I think I've talked about this. She's like 4, so she'd probably be the perfect age to bring her, even though she's kind of acting like a fucking teenager these days. I still like, she's easier than the smaller one. If I put the smaller one down, she just takes off. She's like, my oldest was never like that. She never would. Now she does the running away shit, which is fucking. She ran into a parking lot a couple weeks ago. I think I talked about it on here. But yeah, and then since then, she's like, she doesn't do it all the time, but like we went to go leave a splash pad the other day, and my hands were full, and had been a full day with me with just the girls while my wife was at work, and then we went to the splash pad, and they do like a free concert, and she was doing that fucking bullshit where she's like, I'm still playing. And it was like, I'm fucking not playing with you right now. So I had to like, wait there until because she kept trying to run closer and closer to me, like, trying to fucking tempt fate. And then finally she got close enough. I just snatched up her wrist. I was like, all right, let's go. And then my wife took the stuff and I just picked her up and walked out with her. Luckily she didn't freak out too much after that. So yeah, and then tonight we're going to like this called like a sip and stroll. I got to go through all my stuff that I got today. So I hit a neighborhood sale after that, and it wasn't great. It was like, I thought it would be like, we could get out and walk, but it was like one house, and then you had to drive all the way down to another house, and then there was another house with a sign in front of it, but they weren't open. So it was kind of bullshit. I got a couple things. There was this lady she was like, my son works at Hasbro, and I should have given her a card and just been like, hey, if you ever have toys that you're getting rid of, let me know. And I should have done that, but I didn't, and I'm like kicking myself. I kind of want to go back. But she had like a few different things. I asked her, I was like, oh, do you have any other Hasbro stuff that you're getting rid of? And she was like, no. I should have just given her my card. Like, fuck. I always do that. I'd like give my card out left and right, and then it's like, this lady tells me she's got to connect at Hasbro, and I'm just like, I freeze like a deer in the headlights. So who knows? Maybe I'll go back. I think they're doing a sale today, tomorrow as well. So yeah, that was fun. And then after that, it was just kind of, I went to go to this other sale, which, I walked in and I have my shirt that says the stuff that I'm looking for. Basically, it tells you that this is what I'm looking for. So that way, if I forget, you can read the shirt. And so he's like, oh, I just sold an original Game Boy. Luckily, it's like, if it's an original Game Boy, I'm not really too worried about it. If it had games, maybe. But I like the newer Game Boys and shit. The original Game Boys are kind of whack. And that's what I grew up on. That was my first fucking console ever, was an original Game Boy. That's what I fucking cut my teeth fucking playing Game Boy, fucking burning, like the try to see that shitty ass screen, when you're driving and shit. It's so bad. But I still have my Game Boy Color from when I was younger. That's like the only thing I have left that was mine from when I was younger. So I have a little collection of handhelds. Gotta have those fucking handhelds. I wish I would bring them more. I used to bring them on vacation more, but then it's like, now I bring them and I barely get a chance to do it. If I'm on my phone, I'm trying to do some shit, but I feel like if I'm playing a video game, I'm just wasting my time at that point, which, eventually I won't feel that way. But anyway, yeah, not a great day today as far as sales go. But this last week I did do my yard sale. I kind of touched on that. So finally normally I do one in the spring and one in the fall, but we just had so much shit. And I'm not going to lie, I sold a bunch of stuff from the Rat Horde. So, yeah, that was that was cool. So my sale was supposed to start at 8:30. I usually get up early, and honestly, I didn't think I was going to have a sale ready in the amount of time. So it was like the day before. I hadn't started even getting anything ready for the sale, but I've been putting shit in bins like as I've been going. So I just took all that stuff out and brought it down over to the outside and then, set it up. I went out at like 5 a.m. And so I was set up in like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And this lady showed up. Sorry. This lady showed up right. I think it was probably like 7:15. Yeah, probably right around 7:15. And she pulled up and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I came all the way from Rhode Island. I saw your ad, blah, blah, blah." I posted it in a couple different states. I haven't done that before, so that was cool. So she was like, "Do you care if I start shopping? I drove a long way, this, that, and the other." And so I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was all set up, like literally almost all set up. And it was Friday. So I'm like, this lady's a reseller. This is what it's catered to. So she came in and immediately was like, "How much for your bin of video games?" Didn't even look in there. And so like I said $100. Now it wasn't great stuff in there. Like I'm assuming she's going to do a flea market. But like even so, it wasn't like, it was like a Sega Genesis and Xbox, and then like, miscellaneous common games. It wasn't anything crazy. Like probably won't make a ton of money on it. But she was like, "All right, I'll do that." So it's like, all right, I started at 100 thinking she would negotiate, you know what I mean? And so then she was like, "Okay." So then like the next thing, so she spent like $175 in the first 2 minutes. She bought all the video games, all the DVDs. So the DVDs I've had sitting like for probably a total of like $60 on my eBay store, minus fees and shit. And she ended up buying them for $50. Or no, she paid 20 for those. So yeah, that was probably the more reasonable. So yeah, I had them for like probably $50 and she got 20 for those. So like, minus eBay fees and shit, it's probably right around what I would have got on eBay, not having to ship them. So yeah, she came and bought a ton of shit, bunch of stuffed animals, shoes, clothes, like, she was trying to get in the house, not like get in the house, but, I think she could smell the other shit that I have. Like, all, she's like, "You have anything good coming out? Like any good stuff?" I'm like, "I thought this is good stuff. You're buying it." And so then she starts talking about, she's like, "Are you a Trump guy or a Biden guy?" I'm like, "That's fucking too early for this shit." And so I go, "I'm an RFK guy. I like Robert Kennedy." And she goes, "Okay, good." And so, but I knew because that wasn't the end of the conversation. So then she starts telling me, this was like the day after the Republican National Convention. She starts telling me how like Trump's speech was moving her to tears and shit. And I was like, "Well, that's a little bit much." You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, I'm not one of those people that you tell me you're a Trump supporter. I'm just like, ugh, I get off. I think Trump supporters are some of the funnier people, to be honest with you. But yeah, she was cool. She's like telling me about how she's going to cry. And this was like obviously after the assassination attempt, which is crazy. Yeah. And I think my mom's reaction was like the dude from Tenacious D, where she's like, "I can't believe they missed," which is a crazy thing to say about a presidential assassination. It's like, it's fucking wild. You know what I mean? Because, chances are it wasn't fucking just some random dude. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, well, this isn't the podcast to get into that. But anyway, this lady was, she bought a bunch of shit. She was cool. And then she comes back to like, talking about Trump again. And I'm just like, yeah, like, yeah, cool. And she, as we're talking, she's just like grabbing shit. So I just sat there and let her talk. You know what I mean? And like, she wasn't like, saying anything, stating her political beliefs or anything like that. She was basically just talking about the speech and, what it meant to her. As I'm just like, okay, this is adding up. So I think she spent like maybe close to $300 when all is said and done. She spent a lot of money. So yeah, she came early and then a few more people started trickling in. So I think by 8:30, time moves so fucking crazily slow when you're hosting a yard sale. When you're going out to yard sales, you go out and you're driving to them and it goes by so fast. It's like, oh man, it's already fucking 9:30, 10 o'clock. Like shit, the yard sale day's already almost done. And then when you host a yard sale, especially if people come early, it's like the time just it goes so slow. So at 8:30, I'm like looking at the clock, being like, we just fucking opened. You know, I'd already made almost $300, and we had just opened. So then it's obviously like all the good shit was gone. So then there was like the secondary stuff. Like I had some pennants. And if you've ever sold pennants, you know, I don't have the boxes for them. I'm terrible about getting boxes because I never sell the same shit. And so I just, you know, my mom was constantly shopping online. So I just always have the Amazon boxes or just regular brown boxes. So I constantly have those. And so I had these pennants, which I had put up. I think I got them for $4 a piece. Maybe paid... No, I had to have been less than that. I probably got them freaking dirt cheap. And then, you know, I was selling them for like 15 to 20 a pop. And for a while they were selling and so what I've got left has been sitting for a while. And I just like hate having to deal with it every one. You know what I mean? You just get one every couple of months and you have to find a box that fits because you got to kind of fold them so they don't fucking fold too tight and crease. And I fucking hate dealing with them. So it's like I'll put them up at the yard sale, and I did $2 a piece, and I had two different guys bought all of them. So one bought half, and then the other one bought the other half. You know what I mean? It's like I already made my money on them, just let somebody else take them. And at that point, it's just extra money. Then, you know, saves you the time and energy. So I sold a ton of shit. I have a bunch of shit. So the next step is I got to go to Savers and the dump. The dump wasn't for like stuff that I had. The dump was like we just redid our flooring. Not redid our flooring, but the corner of our flooring had been pulled up because we had taken out a wall. It's all cool stuff, you know. And so we had a bunch of flooring and shit that we were trying to get rid of too. So there's a lot of shit. It's going to be nice once it's all gone. But I cleaned out so much space in the basement. I went through all my T-shirts and my clothes, and just because I've got like a bunch of like I bought a T-shirt bin one time. These people were like, "Oh, if you buy it all, you know, I'll give it to you for $20." And it was like all Harley shit, like motorcycle, and then there was a bunch of bullshit mixed in. So I've had those T-shirts forever. So I just threw those in the pile. So I sold a bunch of clothes, like, and then it's just whatever I will take out from my yard sale doesn't come back in the house. Like if it's out there, it's gone. You know what I mean? It might as well, you know, be fucking, I don't know, my bastard child. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I had the sale. I ended up making $500, and it was like a last minute. Like my wife was like, "Are you doing a sale Friday?" And I hadn't put out any ads. I hadn't thought about it at all. And I was just like, "Fine, I'll fucking do it." So I did it, and I'm glad I posted it. And a couple other, like, you know, we're in Massachusetts, so Rhode Island's right next to us, and then I think that's all I did. I don't think I did New Hampshire. But yeah, this lady came like an hour away, you know, and just loaded up on stuff that I thought was junk, but apparently she's going to sell. I mean, hopefully she sells it. She might be just a hoarder. She said she goes to a lot of sales. I wouldn't be going that far for a yard sale. You know what I mean? Especially, yeah. I mean, maybe if I don't have kids or any shit to do, you know what I mean? There's literally no other sales. But yeah, it was such a far way to go. At least she loaded up her car. You know what I mean? So, could have been a lot worse. I have a big bag of stuff that I got from that estate sale today that's just staring me in the face. I want to go look through it. I forget what I got. I was just grabbing shit because it was hot as fuck. It was like we got in the house and it wasn't hot, and then she opened the windows. She was like, "I'm going to open the windows to air it out. It's hot." And I was like, "It's not hot right now." And then she opened the windows and it was fucking so hot. Oh, man, that's the only thing about estate sales, especially if you got a kid strapped to you. So I could only go for so long, so I'm sure I missed some shit. But there was a lot of stuff to dig through. They had a sale last week, she said, but she said nobody came. So who knows what they might have had. And, yeah. And then, so last weekend, what did I do last weekend? What was last weekend? I feel like I got some. Oh, yeah, I went to a couple sales. Oh, it was my daughter's birthday party. Duh. Yeah, it was my daughter's birthday party, so I couldn't really go out a ton. And then it was my buddy's daughter's birthday the day before. So it's like Saturday, Sunday, double birthdays. So I did hit a couple sales. I went to one. I went to one sale. It had advertised like vintage toys. And I actually I always grab lunch boxes. I don't know why. I never do well with them. And I got two, and apparently these two lunch boxes are both somewhat rare. There's like one selling consistently for 100, and then the other one selling consistently for like, 40 to 50. I was getting ready to put them in the yard sale pile. I was just like, I'm not even going to bother checking these. And then luckily I did. And so, yeah, but there was, so that sale, the guy, like I started bringing stuff up and he was like, yeah, whatever. We're just trying to get rid of stuff. So we'll take whatever offer and blah, 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 blah. So I made a little pile and I go to like pay the guy and he starts like giving me these crazy prices for shit. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I thought that this was going to be a lot cheaper than. And so he was like, whatever you want to pay. He like changed his tune up real quick once I went to go put something back. But yeah, he like drastically came down from his price. That happened to me twice last week where I went to a sale and they started off with this crazy high number. And then I was like, would you take this? And they're like, yeah, sure, fine. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I just haven't been asking hard enough or enough. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. I was like, there was another guy started at like $5 a piece for his hats. And I was like, oh, I was going to do like $1 a piece. And so then I bundled it with some other shit, and I think I only paid like 50 cents each after everything. So, joke's on you, buddy. But yeah, that was not a crazy, crazy week of reselling. We did my daughter's birthday. So if you've got kids and you've had to do a birthday party before, it's fun, in so much that it's a party. But yeah, the setup is not fun. And I always try to cook like a fucking idiot. I'm always like, yeah, let me just cook on the grill. So A, it's way too fucking hot to cook on the grill. And B, it's like you are being antisocial and you have to be up cooking, which I kind of like a little bit of the antisocial aspect. But like, it's a party. I want to be involved. And then, I'm up there drinking beers by myself, getting fucking shit hammered because I'm not pacing myself. My wife bought like the short Bud Lights, and I'm not a big drinker, so I used to be like, not an alcoholic, but getting there. Like I didn't have to go to rehab or anything like that for alcohol. I just used to like to party, you know what I mean? And so like, and whenever I drink anything, like if I drink if you put a water in front of me, I'm gonna drink it in like 2 seconds. It's just, if I have juice, I drink it in like coffee, nothing. I drink it all quick. You know what I mean? I don't like sit there and I don't know how people take small sips of anything. And so I'll drink Bud Light, and I like the tall aluminum bottles with the twist off top, like the bottle, you know what I mean? Not the can looking ones. And, but they stay colder for longer, and then they don't taste like shit at the bottom. And so when I drink those, even though they're 16 ounces as opposed to 12, it's more booze. I drink it slower because I'm not like, when I'm drinking the small cans, I drink those in like 3 sips. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, these are going to be fucking warm and gross in about 5 minutes. So I just chug it because I'm like, I want it to taste good as it's going to taste. I mean, let's be real. And so then I chug it, and then, yeah, like I can't even drink. I drank Stella the other day, and I felt like shit the next day. Like not even having that many. Like I think 1 or 2 on top of some Bud Lights. But the point is, it was the Stella that did it. So yeah. Yeah, we're going to this thing today. It's like a stroll. You like a sip and stroll or something like that. And there's some vendors and shit. So I've been kind of like excited for this concept of going to sip and stroll. Just hope my child doesn't fucking try to run away, because she will get Thor's fucking hammer. Anytime we kill a bug or something like that, I always say, I tell them that I'll say we sent them away. She's like, oh, where did you send them? Like, to Valhalla. So I just think it's funny. I don't know. Eventually she's going to have to be like, oh, what does kill them mean? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Just a silly thing I do. I'm just so silly. Yeah, the USPS has like lost a good amount of my packages, but I don't know if it's actually the USPS or if it's like something to do with the buyers. So I had one buyer recently. It was like a month ago. And then trying to explain this to the fucking eBay agents, because I had to get them on the phone, because I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. So I have sell these like X-Men Wolverine trading cards. It's only like a $17 order. So like it was like a total of $22 that had been on hold for a month. So package, the customer puts in a package not received. And so I'm like, all right, so I put in a missing mail search. Shortly, like, the missing mail search takes X amount of days. Once the missing mail search is done, they send me an email saying this package was delivered on the 17th of June. Okay, so it was delivered on the 17th of June last month. So that's how long it was sent out. And this was just last week that I was dealing with this. So the email says from the U.S. Postal Service. It's marked U.S. Postal Service. It's got all the fucking shit you need. And it says, basically that the package was delivered on the 17th and that it was delivered to the firm / reshipper. And that's, so the package got delivered to a reshipper's address, and that because it had been so long that they couldn't update the delivered scan. That's what it said. So I'm like, all right. So I, submit that paperwork to eBay. They come back and say, like, more shit's needed, this, that, and the other. So I'm just going to call them. So I call them, talk to one person. They're like, they always pretend to listen, and then they just say the same shit. And it's like, I can tell that you're just reading a thing. So she's like, going on and on about how the package isn't showing as delivered in the eBay system, and it has to show as delivered. And so I said, yeah, I know, but look, read what you just had me upload this document. Read it. And I kept trying to get them to read it to me, and they wouldn't read it to me. I'm like, do these people even know how to fucking read English? And I know I'm not trying to like sound, you know what I mean? But it's like, do they actually know how to read it, or are they just not allowed to read it? That sounded very fucking right wing. Sorry about that. That's not what I meant. That's not how I meant it. But they refuse to read it. So finally, I get this lady who's like clearly like a white lady. She's very enthusiastic, and she starts doing, so the other people were definitely of Asian descent, and they were just like not fucking around. You know what I mean? This dude, I finally escalated it to 3 different people, and this one guy, Jonathan, dude, I still remember his fucking name because he was such a little fucking bitch. And he's like, telling me the same shit that the last person said. It's not showing as delivered on eBay. And I'm like trying to tell him, like, bro, just read the fucking document that I uploaded. It's from the U.S. Postal Service. It says that it was delivered and that they can't scan it as delivered. So finally, the 4th person I talked to is this fucking enthusiastic white lady. She's just like, she's had 5 cups of coffee. And so everything I'm saying, she's just like, oh, yeah, just sympathetic. And then she keeps saying, I just wish this buyer would tell us if they got the package or not. Because they had me, of course, eBay always wants you to do all the fucking bullshit. I'm like, why can't you just mediate? I'm like, I paid for store fees. I pay, like, there's no reason why you can't just mediate between your buyer and your seller. This is your platform for them. They like try to stay out of it completely, but they'll take your fucking fees left and right. So this final lady, she's, over the top, like, oh, trying to just empathize, and, she must be the one that they put you through to once you get pissed off enough to where they're like, all right, let's call in the chipper white lady and fucking get this shit. Like, and so this lady is like going on and on. And so she keeps saying, I just wish this buyer would, it would be really nice if this buyer would just, tell us that they got the box or not. And so I go, yeah, it would also be really nice if eBay would, step in and side with their buyer. And when the buyer or side with the seller when the seller has provided proof that it's been delivered, and all they have to do is read the document to know. And she's like, yeah. And so she gets somebody else on the phone, and like she went from like being super chipper to be like, all right, let me get the fuck out of here. So I was like, fuck, this is going to be another one of those situations. And so the lady finally, she was like, oh, we read the document. It says that it was delivered. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that they don't have to get refunded. We'll take your money off hold. So I don't know what that lady said to her. So thank fucking reverse Karen. I don't know if that's like a thing, like reverse Flash. There's like, this lady was like the opposite of a Karen. She was just very, very helpful. She was like a Gale or something. I don't know. So anyway, she got it done, but it was crazy how much time I had to waste for $20. I'm like, this is over $20. That it's the principle of this point. It says that it was delivered to a drop shipper. Like, as far as I was told, that's like shit that doesn't fly at eBay, that you can't drop ship from eBay. And it says there's a legit email from the U.S. Postal Service. So I kept saying, I'm like, do you supersede the Postal Service at eBay? You know what I mean? Like, do you supersede the the Postmaster General? Like, you don't. So if I have an email from the fucking post office that says that they couldn't update the delivered scan, so it's crazy. I'm like, is this going to be a thing that's happening now? Is that like a scam of some sort? Because even on like July 14th, almost a month later, the customer was still saying they didn't receive it. And it wasn't like a case of like, oh, they bought it on eBay. You know what I mean? It was like the address on eBay was a dropshipper location. So, yeah, it just didn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense why it wasn't scanned and why it didn't show up as like, when the customer put, where's my package, it didn't show up as being like, oh, it was scanned. So, yeah, that was just a whole big fucking, it was a waste of time. Such a waste of time. But it was like the principle of the matter that it's like you can't just always side with the fucking buyer. Like, this is clearly I need to get my money back for this. So and then the lady was like, the last lady that came on, she was very nice, and she was like, she finally got the shit pulled through, but she was like, okay, it's going to come in through a message, and then like, it'll refund it. So I'm like, just remember that the call is recorded. I'm trying to mark down the times in case I have to call and be like, hey, this fucking bitch. But luckily they did. It was like 10 minutes, and then I got a message that was like, your funds have been released. Like, finally. Fucking bullshit. So yeah, that was really annoying having to deal with that shit. I don't understand eBay's shit. So, all right, let me see what topics I've got, because again, this is like quick. Oh yeah, I wanted to go back because I was talking about yard sale themed porn, which the estate sale I was at today had a fucking 2 huge boxes of porn. She probably would have sold it to me dirt cheap, but I was just like, I don't know what to do with this. You know what I mean? I was going to look it up on eBay. Let me even see. Can you sell porn on eBay? Let's see. I'm sure it's just going to say adult magazines. Adult magazines. And my internet was fucked up today. I know like the power grid or whatever went out yesterday, but like it was fucking crazy. I was driving around today, and my internet was just fucking not doing very well. The gay porn goes for like more than the straight porn. Yeah, it's like a lot of yeah, I don't see any just like random, you know what I mean? These were like, I don't even know. There was like a couple DVDs and stuff. Yeah, I guess I could have got them. I can send her a message and be like, hey, I guess I can sell them. Yeah, I should have done that. Man, I'm fucking up. I'm going to have to go back over there. When was her sale ending? me see. I'm just like over here doing my shit. Let me see. Where was that sale? Yeah, so sorry. Oh, here it is. Okay, let's see. What time are they there till? 3:30. Ooh, I might have to go back there and ask. So yeah, giant box of fucking porn, and she would have given me she probably would have given it to me for free if I was like, hey, can I just take it? But I wasn't sure, and the internet was acting fucked up, so I didn't want to just take it. You know what I mean? Especially I had my daughter with me, so I'm like, I got these 2 giant boxes of porn, so I might swing back. We'll see. Just like, hey, I think I do want to buy all that porn. I know this isn't weird. But we were laughing about it. I was like, yeah, I was joking. I was like, yeah, we used to find boxes like that in the woods when we were kids. And she was just like, yeah, we're both just dying laughing about how fucking creepy it was. But anyway, so yeah, I was talking about yard sale porn. I say we like I'm fucking here when I was sitting on a panel. But I was talking about how porn is, they should do like yard sale themed porn. But then I was like thinking how easy it would be to do yard sale themed horror movies. And I came up with like a good title for one, which would be, obviously Death Pile. You know what I mean? And it's just like, it would just be, you bring home some shit to sell. It's just like that type of shit. You bring home some shit to sell, and then it fucking, like, that's kind of like the trilogy of terror. I don't know if you've ever seen that, like little. I only remember the first one with the little doll. This bitch brings home this little doll. It's like a fucking little African doll looking thing. And it just turns into like this crazy killer doll. I think it was before Chucky. But I just remember like the lady's like fucking, it's like sticking a knife under the door. And she keeps like trying to grab the knife with her hand and it keeps cutting her fingers. She's so stupid. I just remember like, this bitch is so stupid. I remember thinking that as a kid, like because I watched horror movies way too young. So I just remember watching it being like, this bitch is so stupid for trying to grab that little fucking knife. But yeah, you could do like, in the base. I was just in my basement, I've got shit everywhere. And I'm like, this could be fucking creepy. Like if you do something like, something Death Pile related, something like you get a kid whose dad is a reseller and he's like, don't go into that fucking basement. And then the kid goes into the basement and it's just like there's all these fucking creatures or, some type of shenanigans ensue. But I think that would be good. You could do like a whole network of yard sale shit. I don't think there's enough people who enjoy yard sale content. I barely enjoy yard sale content and I make yard sale content. Although I wouldn't consider this yard sale content. I think it's like reselling, roughly related to reselling. I can't help myself. I can't help myself sometimes. So yeah. Yeah, my wife's aunt called me today. The one that we helped with the estate sale. And I was like, fuck, man. Because we were done with all that. You know what I mean? Once I'm done with something, I just want to be done. Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like, and so she called me. I was like, fuck, it's just like, more that they want to talk about. Or she's like, oh, I called you by accident. I'm like, oh, okay. And I kind of hung up rudely. So I hope she doesn't take that the wrong way. I'll see her tomorrow and I'll apologize. I always apologize for shit that like, I don't even know what you're talking about. You hung up. I'm like, oh, sorry. I said bye, but I don't know if she heard me because she was like saying bye as, it's just like an awkward silence. It's just like, all right, get off my phone. And yeah. So there's that. All right, let's see what else I have written down. Oh, yeah. So lately, I think I talked a little bit about my credit issues. But But yeah, so finally, me and my wife we're talking, and I'm like, dude, we got to figure out this fucking credit issue because it's just the interest is just killing me right now. And when I got the cards, and I'm not like crazy bad with shit, but like I got the cards when I was in between. No, I didn't even get the cards. I got the debt when I was in between. It was like right after I got fired. The COVID was starting up, this, that, and the other. And then one thing just led to another. I was always like, oh, I'm going to deal with it. And then it just kept kind of like going. I just kept kind of paying. I was basically paying like the life fee. You know what I mean? Like paying a monthly fee just to exist. And so I was like, I talked to my wife. Luckily, my wife's really cool about shit like that. And she's like, oh, because she had to do the same shit. I've gotten myself out of debt before. And this will be the last time. I'm not going to fucking do this nonsense again. Because it's so fucking ridiculous. They just like crush you with the interest rate. And so we've, figured it out. And, but I was like dying laughing because I'm like, dude, this is like fucking that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like trying to fix your credit is like when I think it's originally a mouse is in the wall. So they take a cat and put the cat in the wall, and then the cat gets stuck in the wall. So they're like, how do we get the cat out? They like put in another cat. So eventually they've just got a bunch of cats in the wall, and the problem's not solved. It's just only gotten worse. That's like how fucking credit cards are. So I don't know if that's the point of that episode. I was like, but that's how I feel. I'm just like, that you got to get credit cards to pay off your other fucking credit cards because the interest rate is 0 for fucking X amount of days, and you got to transfer this debt and do this bullshit. So I'm just done. I can't wait to be done fucking playing this stupid ass game. Yeah, get that shit taken care of. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy. And then I was like looking into the debt relief programs, and they basically just run your credit into the ground and be like, yeah, they can't pay this shit now. So I'm like, yeah, that's not the option I want to go. I hate the idea of credit though, because it's kind of bullshit. Like it doesn't really exist. I don't think the credit companies can actually do anything to you. You know what I mean? They can call you and harass you, but I don't think they can actually take you. I mean, they can probably try, but I don't think they just keep transferring the debt to somebody else, and eventually they like settle out and like get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? I think that's what the debt relief programs do. They're just like, yeah, just run your shit into the ground. So, yeah, that's fun. We're dealing with that, but we'll get that shit handled. We're pretty good about that shit once we communicate it and then figure out the steps to take to fucking tackle that shit. And hopefully I start getting some podcast money. I mean, if you guys aren't telling your friends about the show, it's kind of your fault that I'm in debt. I'm kidding. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm so glad to have gone through all that shit. Like, yeah, we weren't going to do the yard sale, like I said, but then I was just, I had to do it. It's one of those things. It's one of those things where you're just like, you don't realize how much is there until you start pulling it all out. It was so much shit. Like I had a pair of my mom's friggin' snowshoes that I got for her like for years ago. She'd never used them. Like they've just been sitting here, so I got rid of those. Just so much shit, And then you feel lighter, and then you just go out the next day and you buy a bunch of shit again. And it's like, fuck. I love this job. I love this occupation. I love doing this. But man, the never-ending search for fucking bullshit is just, yeah. And I could just take the weekend off, but you know what? The FOMO, man. The FOMO is fucking real. That could be another horror movie. FOMO. Like, what did I miss out at the sale? I stopped to get gas, and I got there 5 minutes late, and they got a bunch of old Super Nintendo games. That's a person dying after being killed by their FOMO. And then fucked in the ass. No. So yeah, but my wife was laughing because she was off the day that we did the yard sale, and like, people kept coming asking about video games way after the start time. I'm like, those were fucking gone before. Like, even if I had, you know what I mean? Like, nobody, I think somebody came at 8:30 exactly and was like, are there any video games? I was like, no, they sold. But like one guy came, it was like 10:30. The sale was supposed to start at 2:30 or 8:30. Sorry, I don't know. I said 2:30. And so this guy comes and he's like a younger guy. He's got a cane. He's like walking all fucked up. And he's like, oh, the video games here? I was like, oh, no, those are like the first thing to go. And he goes, oh, I drove all the way from Boston. And I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, yeah, the fucking lady who came to and bought the video games drove all the way from Rhode Island. She just got here on time. You know what I mean? Like, the fuck? Just because you got a fucking cane, you're hobbling around, doesn't mean you got to take it out on me, buddy. Your fucking ass should have left earlier. Your car doesn't drive slow, just you. So, yeah, that was just kind of silly. I don't think he was like legitimately upset. I think he was just more maybe mad at himself. I don't know. Outwardly frustrated. But it's like you showed up to a sale 2 hours late for video games, which is like one of the most highly sought after things at yard sales. It was weird. I must have been the only sale that advertised video games because I had people coming from all over for these fucking video games, and it was mostly scratched up Wii games. Like, that was all that was in there. There was a few PlayStation games, and then there was a few, like some Game Gear games, some Sega. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. It was probably $100 worth of games, and she bought it for $100. I mean, if she's selling at the flea market, maybe, but it was just, yeah, it's a lot of video games. So, and it was in a big ass tote, so that's always nice when they take the big ass totes. I fucking hate those things. I used to be a tote guy, but I don't know. I feel like it makes it too much. I don't get to it ever. If it's in a pile, I just fucking put it in a pile. I fucking go grab it, take from that pile, said death pile, and then fucking, redistribute it to other people around the world. That's how this fucking shit goes. I was watching some like YouTube reselling videos recently. I don't know. I feel like some of the shit they buy, it doesn't make sense. Like they're hard to watch. Not hard to watch. I enjoy them sometimes. You know what I mean? Now the only one I really watch is Cincinnati Picker. He was the one that got me started on it. Cincinnati Picker. It was like the first YouTuber I watched, and then I watched like Commonwealth Picker a little bit. What's it called? American Arbitrage. I used to ADHD. No, there's no like reason I just have stopped. It's just there's too much yard sale content, and it can't all be good. You know what I mean? It can be interesting. You can have love for the people that are doing them. Like, oh, you got me to this place or this place. But man, sometimes those YouTube videos are just not misleading, but it's really hard to sell certain items that they pick up and like try to justify it. You're like, why are you picking this up? But then you find out that they have a booth or like, so that's why it's hard if you're a reseller watching other resellers on YouTube, because a lot of times it's geared towards their business. But I guess if you watch enough of it, but then I feel like you're just sitting and watching shit. You know what I mean? A lot of times you got to watch and like actually pay attention. Like, that's why this podcast, you can just throw it on and do whatever the fuck. You're not going to miss anything. You fucking go do something, come back 5 minutes later. I'm still talking about some stupid shit, But for the actual YouTubers that take it seriously, trying to pay attention to the shit they're talking about while you're packing orders or, doing whatever. It just doesn't work great, I guess. So, who knows? I don't even fucking know. That was a quick almost hour. I didn't smoke today, so I don't know if that helped. I smoked earlier, but I just was like going to do the podcast, and I was like, I'll smoke after the podcast. I don't feel like trying to struggle through a fucking... Sometimes it's fine if I smoke and I'm like, have a little bit of time to chill, but when I gotta get down to business, I was like, I'll just skip it today. Last one was kind of fucking low energy. It's hard to... I was kind of, like Sleepy Joe over there. And and so yeah, dude, but yeah, how crazy is it that fucking Trump got like shot in the ear? It's funny that some people are like, it's staged, he staged it. It's like, for what fucking purpose? I mean, the guy's dominating fucking just, you know what I mean? And I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not like, go fucking Trump. I have eyes and I fucking pay attention to shit. It's like, you know what I mean? And I've never actually met somebody who's like excited about Joe Biden. They just are people that begrudgingly vote for him because they just don't want Trump to win. It's just fucking crazy. It's so crazy. That's like literally their only thing that they got. I'm sorry, I got into politics. It's happening. It's the last 10 minutes. I have nothing else to talk about. So I just think, an assassination attempt was fucking crazy, especially one that was like, when I first saw it, I was like, damn, that shit looks, it does look staged as fuck. When he's like, wait, and then he does the fucking fist bump. Oh shit! When I first saw it, I was like, that shit was staged. But then, like, you start thinking about it, you're like, wait, why? You gotta be like, there's no reason for him to do it. You know what I mean? There's literally no reason, especially after that debate where there's just like the entire country that's not still, whose brains aren't still fried, or like, like this dude is fucking got some shit going on. So pretty crazy. I feel like they just left that dude like to do it. Like that's what it seems like. It seems like they just let him do it. But I mean that's what I've heard, what I've read. I'm not the fucking news source for that. I just sell people's junk on the internet. But anyway, it was just such a ridiculous moment. I had to just kind of bring it up. It was just funny. Yeah. So anyway, I just like completely got myself off track. I thought I was going to talk about that for longer than I did, but I was like, I'm kind of over talking about it already. I'm trying to think. I don't remember if I had anything else to talk about before we wrapped it up. Oh, my fucking ring light, man. The ring light that I use to take pictures of my stuff has not been working. So I got a replacement cord. That didn't work. So now I'm like, fuck, I gotta replace the whole thing. So I'm hoping, I gotta get online after this and look into it. I'm hoping that I can get them to replace it. It has only been like under 2 years. But it's fucking bullshit. I want my fucking, it's like, it actually affects the business because I'm like, I'm not like taking pictures of shit because a lot of shit that I have, it's hard to take pictures without the background. So I need to just get it figured out. I don't know if I need to buy one, just say fuck it and buy one. But there's a warranty. It says under 2 years. So we'll see. Hopefully they just replace it. A lot of times companies will just be like, you know what, fuck it, we'll just replace it. It says that it's 1 year warranty and then 2 years if you ordered from the website. So chances are my mom didn't order from the website because she got it for a birthday gift a few years ago. But we'll see. Maybe she will have. That'll be nice. So yeah, man, I went to a sale today. Forgot about this. And it was down. They were doing like, it's called Harbor Days or something like that. So I guess it's like a little thing down by this harbor that we were by. And they do, like, it looked like vendors and shit. There was nowhere to park. It was fucking crazy. But there was a sale right in the middle of that shit. So I'm like trying to find a place to park to go to the sale. And I'm like, this isn't going to happen. So I had to bail on the sale. They look like they had some vintage clothes, but they look like they know what they're doing because there was so many people walking. You know what I mean? They just had a ton of foot traffic. But I couldn't go and check it out because, and they started it so late. They started at like 10. It's like, why wouldn't you just start it early in case you have some early birds who want to shop, and then you can have the regular fucking people come in after. So I don't know. I have to take a shit. Sorry, I know that's kind of too much information, but it's kind of the first thing I thought of, you know? What do you think I don't know what the fuck I was about to say. All I could think about is the fact that I have to shit now. Fuck. I could pause it and do 5 more minutes and just let you know how the shit went. I'm going to do that. No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. I did just fart. You might have caught that on the mic, but I don't know if you can hear it or not. Anyway, that's the podcast. I guess I can wrap it up 5 minutes early-ish. Again, tell your friends if you still enjoy this podcast. I don't know why you would. Eventually, I'm going to get video. I tried. I did the video, recorded it, tried to edit it, couldn't figure it out. And then I just got crazy fucking busy again. So kids' birthday's done, the estate sale stuff's done, got a yard sale out of the way. So I'm hoping to have some more time going towards the back half of the summer. I do have to plan for my wife and I's anniversary, but I can never plan that shit because she never knows her fucking work schedule. So, yeah, sorry, I'm just thinking out loud now at this point. At this point, I'm just like using this to document what I'm going to do for the day. Man, I hope my daughter gets out of this phase soon. It was like pretty intense for a few days, but she's starting to come back around. It just sucks because they literally act like fucking little teenagers. It's like, where the fuck is this behavior coming from? And then you're like, oh, it's coming from myself. Oh, sorry. You know what I mean? I catch myself all the time. So all you can really do when you're a parent is like try to do, if you're a decent parent, I mean, I'm not trying to pass judgment and shit, but like if you're a decent parent, halfway decent parent, like you get up each day and you're like, all right, let me try to do things a little bit different than I did yesterday. Try to be a little bit better. And then you try that shit, you try it. And then like 2 hours in, you're like, I guess this is just who I am. Just a fucking psycho. Unless you stay home with kids, you can't really relate to what I'm saying. It's for the stay-at-home moms out there. Where my girls at? Hashtag stay-at-home moms. Ooh, that was a big fart. All right, I should probably get out of here before I catch myself shitting my pants on a hot mic. I'll forget to hit stop. It'll just be me fucking shitting and crying about being a stay-at-home mom. So, anyway, all right, that's the podcast. Thanks, and I will check in with you next week or maybe the week after or maybe sooner. Who knows? Try to get a guest in here again. Maybe eventually I want to have a guest that will be good. I feel like Jacob was a good guest, but we were fucking hammered. That was not great. So yeah, maybe I'll try to get another guest in here. All right. That's the podcast. Perry the Pothead Picker on Instagram. Follow. Like and subscribe. Share the podcast. Oh, I got stung by a bee today, dude. I got back when I was getting back from the going yard sale. I went to get out of the car, and literally the second I stepped out of the car and closed the door, I felt like on my forearm, I felt like almost like a pinch. I was like, was that a fucking bee sting? It didn't hurt as bad as the bee stings have hurt in the past. So I don't know if it got me all the way. Like, I don't know if I stepped out and it just flew into my arm and like just stung me because it flew away. And then I was like, fuck. And I looked down and sure enough, it was a little fucking bee sting. It's already gone. I don't even have the mark anymore. But it fucking, yeah, I was like, holy shit, did I just get stung by a bee real quick? It was just such a random, like, you know what I mean? That's just foot down, door closed, bam, fucking stung by a bee. So then I was trying to play it off cool. I was just like, I showed my daughter, I said, dude, look, I just got stung by a bee. And she's like, where? And I said, right here in this mark. Use your fucking eyes. No, I didn't say that. But anyway, all right, that's the podcast. At this point, I'm just going to wait till this 1 hour mark goes on because it's like 20 more seconds. I could just start doing a countdown. How obnoxious would that be? Just start counting down at the end. Just fucking, I'm staring at this mug I got today. I got a Dead Rising 4 mug, and there's a microphone in front of it, and it looks like he's like singing death metal because he's biting. But anyway, all right, that's the podcast. Thanks, and bye.